All right. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Inside the Investigation. I'm joined here by Virginia Beach Sheriff Rocky Holcomb. It's so lovely to have you.
Thank you, Aesia. Thank you.
So excited. We have so much to talk about.
Yeah, we do. We do.
First of all, introduce yourself. Talk to the people about what it is you do. I don't think people really know the difference between necessarily a police chief and a sheriff.
Yeah. Well, again, my name's Rocky Holcomb, and I'm honored to be the sheriff of Virginia Beach. And the sheriff, where it differs from the chief of police, the sheriff is elected by the people. And the sheriff is a constitutional officer. And our duties differ a little from the police department, but we overlap in a lot of areas. We primarily have to maintain custody of the correctional center. We have the courthouse. We serve civil process paper in the community. And we overlap with a lot of things the police do in enforcement. So, but the number one thing is every 4 years, you go up to be cleansed by the will of the people to make sure you're doing the job.
So for you, when did you know you wanted to be in law enforcement? I know you've been in it for a long time. Yeah.
So Aesia, let me tell you, and this might take a second, but I'm going to tell you my story.
Please.
Because a lot of people ask me how I got my name Rocky, and they think it was a cool bar fight or something like that, but it was none of the above. So I first saw the light of day, June 29th, 1968, in a small coal mining town in Southwest Virginia. The town is Bluefield, and it's half of it's in Virginia, half of it's in West Virginia. And I was born on the West Virginia side to a Methodist minister and a home care nurse. And you got to figure in 1968 in this small coal mining town, there wasn't much by way of health care or things like that. And so I was born with a collapsed right lung. And so in this small coal mining town, when I was born, they took me from my mother and put me in an incubator and jabbed a tube into my chest to try to inflate the lung. Mm-hmm. And so the doctors gave me very little hope and told my family to gather and pray. And my grandmother, rest her soul, my grandmother, a great prayer warrior and a real inspiration in my life. She would tell the story that after about 3 days, they took me out of the incubator and they handed me to my father. And my dad said, "Thank you, God, this is my son, and he's had a rocky way to go." And so then as they handed me around the room, everybody said, "Let me hold little Rocky."
Wow.
Let me hold little Rocky. And Aesia, I've told this story a million times, and I get goosebumps telling it, because my grandmother would always tell me, whenever I would be down and out because I didn't make it on the team or I didn't get what I wanted, she would say, "Rocky, you got your blessing. You already got it. It's your job to pay it forward every day." And so that story always sticks with me, and it's made me commit my life to service. And I went to college in 1986 at Chowan College, which is just south of here in North Carolina. And I came home that first semester, and my grades weren't too good. And my dad said, "Well, son, I'm not going to let you go back to college. I'm not going to pay for this if you're going to have these kind of grades." He said, "But it's okay."
You're partying too much.
I was practicing on being a sheriff.
Right.
So he said, "Son, but I'll give you 5 options." So, I'm an 18-year-old boy. And I said, "Well, Dad, what are my options?" And he said, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard. Ooh. So I promptly joined the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
And I served in the United States Marine Corps as an 0311 infantryman. And I got an honorable discharge. And after that, traded in a Marine uniform for a sheriff's uniform in 1991.
You never look back.
No, I've been living behind this badge since 1991. And, the words of my grandmother, always serving others, have really propelled me to some good things in my life.
So when you started out at the jail, what was your position? Were you...
I started with an application as a deputy recruit.
Okay. Were you always working under Stolly?
No. I worked with Sheriff Frank Drew back in the early 90s and Sheriff Lantane and then Sheriff Stolly. So I've worked with 3 sheriffs in my career. What
do you feel like it took to, is it about getting the respect of your colleagues? How do you go from being just, an entry-level deputy to, the sheriff? Well,
I'm the first one in the history of the sheriff's office to go from an application to become the sheriff. And I think a lot of it is just the respect of your peers and your supervisors understanding that you're willing to put in the time and the work. And it's been rewarded over the years. And my work in the community has been, I've always taken pride in it. It's something I take pride in. And then when I did go to the polls last year, because I was first appointed when Sheriff Stolly stepped down.
Okay.
So I was appointed, and then they had a special election.
Is that the under sheriff title?
I was a chief deputy, and I was just moved up to the sheriff. So I was an appointed sheriff, and then last year we had a special election, and I had overwhelming support from the community with over 70% of the vote. and then I'll be on the ballot this year to get it back on a 4-year cycle.
Oh,
So to be back
okay.
on 4 years. So I'll be back this November.
Wow. So you're having to run 2 years. Are you stressed?
Well, my wife is. This is
Bless her heart.
this is actually my 6th campaign since 2017.
Wow.
6th campaign. I had House of Delegates campaigns, city council campaigns, a sheriff campaign. So I'm getting pretty good at being a campaigner. Yeah.
Well, so with your job too, I think what people don't necessarily see is it's 24/7.
Yes, absolutely.
And can you talk about the impact that has on you, your family, your mental health?
Yeah, it's tough because you know you're always accountable to the citizens for anything that happens, and so you've got to make sure that you have a steady hand on the plow, making sure you're moving in the right direction to get the work done. And you know we have a large department, over 500 folks and over 1,100 prisoners, so we have a big operation there at the sheriff's office. But one thing I learned early in my career, I went to a seminar. And the person giving the seminar said, if you want to be a successful leader, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you are. And that's what I've done. And I have a great staff around me. I really do.
What's the saying? If you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I have a great staff around me. And so good sounding boards from the community and from my staff. So.
When it comes to, so you get into the jail, you become sheriff. How long have you been sheriff now?
I've been sheriff since October 23.
Okay. For you, when you first got in that seat, what was the biggest change you wanted to see made?
Well, the first thing that I did coming in, and I wanted to make sure that I put my DNA on it and my fingerprint on it. The first thing I did, I came in with the acronym TRUST, TRUST. And that acronym is very simple. It defines how I want to lead, and it's transparency, respect, unity, service, and training. And so those are the core models that I want to make sure that we have in place. And you know, a good friend of mine, Gary McCullum, told me, he said, Rocky, transparency is not what you say, it's what you do. And I've lived by that, not by my words, but by my actions with transparency. So that's the first thing I did was put that in place, the acronym TRUST. And you see it all over my office now.
All right. With that being said, we'll be right back. We'll get into a little bit of that transparency.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, welcome back to Inside the Investigation here with Virginia Beach Sheriff Rocky Holcomb. And we were talking a little bit about you really valuing being transparent and how that's not just something to say, it's something to show.
Yeah.
And, you know, even over, you know, the couple of years that you've officially been sheriff, you have had to really step forward and be transparent, specifically in a couple of cases that we've worked together. How hard is it, you know, when you have to look at cases like the Rollin Hill case and look at people who you love, who you work with every day and say, we got to change something. Something's not doing it the way we need to be doing it. How hard is that?
It's difficult. And I tell you, reference that case, it's the last thing I think about when I go to bed and the first thing I think about when I wake up. And that is something, there's no playbook for it. And you just have to lead through it. And I feel like that we're leading through it with transparency and openness, and my heart grieves for the Hill family. Yeah. I can never tell you how painful it is, and I cannot imagine what they feel. But yeah, that's a tough one that we had to lead through, and I wake up every day talking to my staff and my training staff about how do we prevent this? I never want to see this again. How do we prevent this? And one of the things we did, we called in a police executive research firm out of D.C., and they came down and they're auditing all of our policies, all of our practices, and they're giving us best practice and finding out where we have some gaps in it. And one of the things that I've implemented, of the many things after that case, is whenever it's applicable and we use force on a prisoner or a suspect, we have a third party that's watching, to just watching the suspect to make sure that we're doing it right, and we take a break if we need to, whatever we need to do. Right. But I've implemented that and making sure that we have a clean operation in everything.
Do you feel like sometimes when you're in it directly, you can't see the full picture, and that's essentially why it's so nice to have that third deputy?
Yeah, that's right. And so you have that outside agency that's not involved, and they can oversee everything, and it's a clean observation to help the whole process for everybody. And another thing is we have all of our body worn cameras, and my staff know that we are reviewing body worn cameras. And if you do a good job, we're going to let you know, and if you do a bad job, we're going to let you know that as well. So we don't have a problem making sure that we're transparent in what we do.
When all of that kind of came down and you made all these changes, did you have the support of your deputies, or were there some people that were like, hey, he should have taken our back a little bit more? What do you think?
I think there was a mixture. I didn't hear any of the take our back a little bit more. I made it clear to my staff. I said, you haven't seen the tape. You don't know the case, and we don't speak on an active investigation. So I think that we had the support, and the things that we implemented, I think the staff have taken well to it. And there's so many things that, listen, Aesia, our staff, and I give it up to the men and women of law enforcement.
Yes,
we're dealing with 63% of our population suffers from some type of mental illness.
Yes,
and it's so difficult. And you got jail is the final place for them to land, and they don't need jail. They need the help that they deserve, and my deputies are having to change hats and learn how to do that, and it's tough.
Well, and I, back when Stolly was, the sheriff, I came in and I went inside the jail and I watched this mental health program that was facilitated. And how they kind of had like a counselor sitting there with them, and how much that helped getting medication treatment. But you really see it's so much more than just making sure they, are locked up properly and things are safe. There's so much more to it. And then I wanted to talk to you a little bit because I know that you guys have had to release some suicide, notifications. And how hard is that? I can't even imagine the trauma. I mean, walking by and having to see someone who's taken their life.
Right. And that's huge. And we just presented to the Human Rights Commission in Virginia Beach about this. And the difficult thing is, if you come to my jail and you say, I'm thinking about committing suicide, we can help you. We will observe you and do everything we can to help you. It's the one that doesn't say it. It's the one that doesn't tell us. And so we have no trigger to know. And we have that situation, and that's the ones that scare me, because I want to help you, but if you don't tell me, I can't help you. And you
only have but so many resources too.
Yeah. So if we have somebody that's identified themselves as suicidal, we'll put them on a direct observation, on a camera observation. But if we don't know, we don't know. And so it's heartbreaking, because we do know that we're catching folks at the worst time of their life, the worst time ever. And it's difficult.
For you, I'm going to ask you, what's been the best moment as sheriff, and what is something that still gives you nightmares?
So I'll start with the worst. The worst was obviously the Rollin Hill case. Breaks my heart, and you and I did an interview about it, and you know my position on it. My heart breaks for the family. There's so much into that story that just breaks my heart, and I work every day and hope every day for justice for Rollin. And I think a lot of the policies and procedures that we put in place, in a lot of ways, defines justice for Rollin, because he changed a culture that can be better and do things different. And so he's made a difference in our department, and my heart breaks for the family. The most rewarding is to grow up in the organization and lead the men and women of the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office, where I cut my teeth and where I got started. Is unbelievable. But let me tell you this: there's a young man in the community that has Down syndrome named Travis, and you've probably seen Travis out. His mom's a warrior for Travis. Takes him. Everybody knows Travis, and so I swore Travis in. My first January at the sheriff's office, I swore Travis in as a deputy ambassador. And so we did it at the oceanfront down by King Neptune, and my wife was standing there. And when I swore Travis in, he raised his right hand, and Travis comes up to about here on me. And when I swore him in, Aesia, Travis reached up and pulled me down. And he hugged me and he said, I love you, Rocky. And my wife was there almost in tears. And I could tear up thinking about it, because I think about this. Here's a guy that I can do nothing for him, but he loved me for what I did. And so it made a huge difference. And so just being able to receive that back from him, I just think, my goodness. And so we went on to have a couple of others that we sworn in. I've got a chief deputy ambassador. And so but that was really a highlight of my career, in the fact that I could make a difference in his life, And we still see him. He comes to our events and stuff, and it's awesome.
That's so cool.
It is.
Does he wear a little badge or anything?
He does. He has a shirt with his name on it and a badge.
So cute.
And he's the best. And so, so many highlights in my career, but to be the sheriff and to be able to swear him in as a deputy ambassador was just awesome. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, we're talking about, the programs that you put in, there's so many things that you still want to do. And one of the biggest ones revolves around that mental health topic. Are you still fighting for that, to kind of get a mental health facility locally that can kind of help balance out so it's not all on the deputies?
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to the Human Rights Commission, and we said we need a crisis intervention center where we can take somebody to triage, to find out, do they need medical professionals or do they need jail? And so I think we're finding that a lot of them, they just need to get the medication they need and get back on track and not go to jail. Yeah, so it's huge.
All right, we'll be right back. Thank you for watching. All right, welcome back to Inside the Investigation. I'm here with Virginia Beach Sheriff Rocky Holcomb, and we've been talking a lot about what's going on behind the jail when it comes to changes that you've made, things that you want to see. You as a person, what do you want the community to know the most about Rocky as a person?
So, I go back to my grandmother and the commitment I owe to the community every day. And one of the programs that I implemented it's a big umbrella program. It's called the Road to Hope. And if you go on our website, vbso.net, and look at the Road to Hope, we understand that over 85% of these offenders are coming back to our neighborhoods. They're coming back to be your neighbor or live in your neighborhood. So why don't we help them have a soft landing when they get back? So a couple of the programs that I do, one that I'm very proud of that we just implemented, is a Serve Safe program where we teach prisoners how to be food handlers. And we get them a certificate in being a certified food handler. And I've talked to folks in the community, and they say this certificate can equate to a $17 to $19 an hour job. And that's what we want, folks to get out, go back to work, provide for their family, be good tax-paying citizens, and we want to work towards that every day. So our Road to Hope program offers a lot of different things. We have a veterans program in our jail where we get them in touch with some veteran reps to get the help they need.
When it comes to, over the past decade, obviously there's been so much that's gone down with the Black Lives Matter movement, and Back the Blue, things like that. And so for a long time, and I think it's still a problem, just being able to recruit and get people to want to be in law enforcement anymore. Talk to me about that struggle and the things you guys are doing to try and defeat that.
Yeah, so we're out every day. I have a captain, Karen Johnson, who's my community engagement recruitment captain, and she takes a team out. We go to high schools, we go to job fairs. And remind me to tell you about a job fair. So we go to job fairs. We go all over and try to recruit, and we try to get the best candidates and quality candidates to come in. But it is tough to get folks to come in and want to be in law enforcement now. They just don't.
Is a lot of it the pay? Is it
the pay's top notch?
It's the danger of putting your body.
I think that's it. The pay is top notch, and I think that they just don't want to go through the training and the process. But there's a lot of great crime fighters that come in and we get and make a career out of it. And we tell them, even if you don't want to make a career out of it, come and give us a few years and get some experience on your resume. We'll be glad to have you.
So we had some reporters go through the FBI's fitness test. Do you guys have a fitness test? And do you have to go through that every year? You just do it once and you're good?
We have. So here's what we have. We have, at your initial hiring, we have a physical fitness test, and I'm proud to say the sheriff can still pass that physical fitness test. And then we have a law fit program every year. And if you participate in the law fit program, it's twice a year, you can be rewarded up to $500.
Okay.
So there's some incentive there.
So it pays to lay off the donuts.
Yeah, that's right. Bagels. Go with bagels.
But so now when it comes to what's next for you, What's the next big thing? What's the next big thing?
Well, we have the
for
election coming up in November. We have the election, and then we'll secure 4 years as a sheriff and dig into new programs. And I'm always challenging my staff to scan the horizon and not find solutions of today, but find solutions for tomorrow, because we see an ever-changing environment. I have a correctional facility that came online in 1976. And it's really showing its age now,
I was about
24
to
hours a day.
say.
Yeah. So how do we find other forms of incarceration? Is it electronic home monitoring? Is it some type of work release program? You know, the former sheriff used to always say, we got to find out with the offenders, are we mad at them or are we afraid of them? Because there's a big difference there. You know, if they violated the law and we're mad at them for what they did, then let's find a program. But if we're afraid of them, we got to keep them locked up and let them serve their time. So that's a big thing.
You guys do a massive search a couple times a year, right?
Yeah.
What is the craziest thing that you have ever recovered from? Because I watch a lot of different shows, and Orange is the New Black, and they turn toothbrushes into stuff. What's the craziest thing that you've ever?
There's so many things. I always say I've seen it all. And then we have another search and go, oh, hell, I've seen it all. And so there's so many things that they craft, and there's so much talent. I mean, take this talent and get a good paying job. I mean, they will we have electronic cigarettes in our jail, and they'll somehow rewire them and make them into a tattoo kit that's better than you can find anywhere else. So there's so many things. Yeah, our staff is always on the lookout, and we do our constant searches and try to find all the stuff, but it's tough.
I can only imagine.
The creativity, they make a spread in there out of the food that you buy off the commissary, the ramen noodles, who we all go, oh, ramen noodles. They can turn that into a 5-star gourmet dish.
Look.
Yeah, it's the best.
Do they? Okay. I have so many questions. Because do they use the toilet to actually like cook stuff in?
Everything, yep.
Wow.
Yeah, the toilet that's a special place in the cell block that gets cleaned religiously. It's a laundromat, it's a kitchen, it's
And are
everything.
they making makeup out of different?
So I've seen a female prisoner, and I looked, and she was all made up going to court, and I'm like, how the heck did that happen? She took the M&Ms and moistened the M&Ms and took the color off. Yeah, it made a great looking makeup kit.
Have you ever had to? I'm assuming probably not, but have you ever had to deliver a child in the jail? Like you couldn't get them to the hospital soon enough? And
we have in my career.
Wow.
It hadn't happened lately, but we have had it happen in our career.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's.
Did you catch it?
No, I wasn't. It wasn't for me. I was in the hallway. It wasn't. It wasn't for
You're
me.
not getting that close.
No,
that's trauma for you.
No, it was. But we have a medical staff that's first class.
And with their creativity, you definitely embrace that. Can you talk about that mural in the jail is fabulous.
Amazing? Yeah,
yes.
and we helped that guy get several jobs when he got out of the correctional center.
That's awesome.
We used ourselves as reference for him. And this just came from a guy that he said, I just can't sit in the cell block. I've got too much energy. And we said, well, what can you do? He said, I can paint. And I said, well, get to painting. And
did you? But so like, I can paint stick figures.
Yeah.
But like, did you test him to see what he could really?
So when he told me he could paint, I made a motion. I said, "You mean paint?" And he went, "No, paint. I'm an artiste." And I said, "Okay, we'll see." So I guess after the first 4 nights of him doing it, we were like, "Hey, he's good to go."
Wow.
Yeah, he's good to go.
And so he's out, and he's not come back.
He hasn't come back to our place. No. Yeah.
And you guys just had a revamp where are you still in the middle of letting them paint the new walls and all of that?
Yep, we're using inmate labor to paint the entire jail. You know, usually this would be contracted out. It's some high price, but we're using inmate labor to paint it. And the inmates enjoy doing it.
Right.
Yeah, they enjoy doing it.
And talk about the garbage collection too.
Yeah, so we did away with our grass cutting. We found out it wasn't the best bang for the buck. So we're doing litter removal throughout the city. And over the past 3 months, we've removed 6,000 pounds of trash, just using inmate labor to go out. And here's the thing, they want to go and do it.
Right.
They have a sense of commitment back to the community, and they understand that we're going to help them get a job or do whatever we can. But yeah, we've removed 6,000 pounds, and it's a lot of.
Do they have? Thank you. Do they have so their outdoor space? Is it 30 minutes a day, an hour a day?
So in our pod area, they have a rec yard they can go into whenever we open it up. So they can go into that, and then we try to get them out at least twice a week during the week. To go outside.
And are there some that are just like super?
Oh, listen, when we go, we got our outdoor rec yard has a basketball court out there, and it's joined by they're joined like this. One hoop's on this side, and so they're dunking on this hoop, so this hoop's taking over here. So there's just so much talent going on out there in the correctional center. So many, I tell people over my 34-year career, they talk about the best athletes that we've seen on TV or anything. Some of the best athletes didn't get a shot. They ended up in jail. And I can name so many from here in Virginia Beach.
Wow.
And when I see them in the community, I always...
That's why I think about the cases of like Don Scott and how he was locked up, got out, and completely first Black House speak. Amazing
So
story.
Don was in my office. He's a friend of mine, and he's a good guy. And we were talking, and as I was talking to him, the fact that he was the first African-American speaker, that's good. But his story,
it's just
as a sheriff of 1,100 prisoners, I wish every one of them that type of success. What a community we'd have. But yeah, that was a great story. And I watched one of his interviews, and it almost brought me to tears just seeing that comeback story. Yep.
So we have to wrap up, but is there anything else you want to let the people know about before we
No, Aesia, I'll just say that it's the honor of my life to be the sheriff of the city of Virginia Beach. I'm humbled every day. I welcome anybody with any complaints, comments, suggestions, any recommendations you have. Please go to vbso.net and express them, good, bad, and ugly. We will work to fix them. It's your jail, it's your department, and it's our honor to serve, and we take pride in it every day.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Aesia.
joining
You're
on
the
this
best.
episode of Inside the Investigation.